Mr. World Peace.
World peace, hey, in the now. Hey, let's get the good vibes flowing all around. Let's go, hey, make it flow. Hey, get the good vibes flowing round the globe. Get up, brother, get up, sister, get up, mister, get up, miss. Get up, brother, get up,
Oh, Lise is dancing. All right.
Get up, miss. They say I'm crazy, but I'm happy, and they just don't understand how I could live this way as just another man. I just do the simple things like living in the moment with my mind clear, no fear, following the omens. See me at world peace, or you can say what's up, give some love to your cousin.
Oh yes, people dancing, I love that. Welcome to the Light Language Summit. We're with Mr. World Peace today, very special session.
Where you at, from the gutter to the castles, your mind state is something that you gotta grapple. My mind's free, and you can find me in a meditative state, thanking God on my knees. The love's inside me, the love unwinds me. I get stuck, I take a deep breath. I'm
gonna advertise the World Peace clothes.
Yeah.
I'm World Peace ready.
So I let my love blast. Get up, brother, get up, sister, get up.
The most comfortable clothes in the world, with the most beautiful mission.
Get up, mister, get up, miss. Always having fun, always spreading love, always feeling love, world peace. I wonder if people really hear my words. I preach on the mic, but am I really heard? Take a deep breath, clear your mind, connect with the earth. I just led you to water, but do you have the thirst? Go to yoga and you can see.
Do we have the thirst?
Or you can go out in nature and just breathe. I'm like a cool cloud flowing in the wind, one with the seasons, one with the environment. When I breathe, I love it. I release the loving. Take a deep old breath of me and feel the good vibes rushing. The now is stunning. Feel the vibes, they're buzzing. Take a deep old breath and feel like God is hugging you. Get up, brother, get up, sister, get up, mister, get up, miss. Get up, brother, get up, sister, get up, mister, get up, miss. Always having fun, always spreading love, always feeling love, world peace. Always having fun, always spreading love, always feeling love, world peace.
Welcome, welcome, welcome to the Light Language Summit. Welcome everyone. We have Anne, another Anne, Annie, Emily, Irene, Lise, Natalie, Sarah in the house. Welcome. We are with Mr. World Peace today. He is someone I met through the algorithm of Instagram, believe it or not. So algorithm can be on our side sometimes. And he was on a road trip distributing, selling his clothes around Canada. And he passed through Quebec, which is very close to where I live. So he appeared on my Instagram feed. And when I saw the mission World Peace, this is something I highly relate to, so it just resonated, and I reached out to him and I bought some clothes. We spoke on the phone for 1 hour. And then I had the balls, literally, to invite him to the summit because I thought we need to hear more about this wonderful Canadian artist. So let me introduce him a little bit more. Mr. World Peace is a Canadian artist, rapper, and entrepreneur from Sudbury, Ontario. Dedicated to promoting global peace, mindfulness, and sobriety, Kayan utilizes creative expression to inspire self-love and confidence. As the founder of the World Peace Hoodies brand, he creates wearable reminders of unity and kindness, while his high-energy hip-hop performances serve as a platform for positivity. Beyond the stage, he leads impactful youth programs, mentoring young people through songwriting and video production to build their self-esteem. And he's also a passionate traveler and communicator, fostering genuine human connection worldwide. Excuse my French here. Worldwide. Spreading joy and happiness through song, drumming, and authentic engagement with diverse communities. Welcome, Kayan. Can you please give us some words just so we can see who you are?
Hey, yo, hello, everybody. Thank you for the lovely introduction. I'm very grateful. Thank you so much for having me.
All right, everyone. So we'll have an interview today, and I really invite you to listen to the wisdom of this man. And for everyone who is an entrepreneur here, I invite you to also follow him right now on Instagram at World Peace Jesus, all together. The reason why I'm telling you that is one thing I've noticed about Mr. World Peace Cayenne is that he's truly leading his business in his own flavor. He does the business the way he is, and we can really feel the natural alignment of the way he's doing that. And this is so important. Like, we can feel the essence of the person behind the business. So for everyone who's an entrepreneur, I strongly recommend that you go watch this man on socials. So let's start today with our first question. Most people treat world peace like an abstract idea. You turned it into a lifestyle, a name, a movement, clothing, music, and youth programs. So what made you decide to embody the message instead of just talking about it?
Well, back in 2015, I read this book called The Power of Now. It taught me to live in the present moment, taught me to be aware of my thoughts, be mindful. And from that, it spiraled into me starting to rap. And I would, not on this exact laptop, but I would go on my laptop because that was my camera at the time and hit record. And I would do my little raps. And what ended up coming out was always peace and love and world peace. So I progressed to just keeping the ball rolling, and over the years, it's just progressed into what it is now. And in the process of rapping, I started reading more books and started learning more things. Now I just feel obliged to share all the information that I've learned over the years with other people to help other people thrive and succeed within their inner peace, so that it could ripple out and we can create world peace. Because I truly feel like it starts within each one of us, because I can't control any of you. You can't control me. We can't control our kids, our parents. You can only have some resemblance of control over yourself. Therefore, I want to share these messages through my music, through my videos, content, and through interactions and connections with people to walk into your inner peace, to take a deep breath, clear your mind, connect with the earth, and find that inner peace and lock in to your inner zen and go out in the world and let the effects ripple, because you can either ripple out negativity or you can ripple out positivity. I feel like the positivity route is the good way to bring world peace. So over the years, I've traveled all over Canada. Canada's been from coast to coast. I've been to each coast both times and everywhere in between more than twice. And I've recently been starting to travel globally. I went to Mexico last year. I was in New York last year. I went out to the Philippines for a couple months. And I'm very grateful to see the contrast of the world. And I'm planning to travel more as well. The world is a very beautiful place, and it really needs world peace. There's too much shenanigans going on, right?
Exactly, and that leads to our next question, because that's very present now. So if someone listening right now feels overwhelmed by the state of humanity and the world, what would you want them to understand about their role in creating peace, not someday, but in the way they live, create, speak, and lead today?
Well, I've learned a lot of things about being mindful. And one thing that really hit me was I used to overthink. I used to get angry. So when you catch these thoughts and these feelings in the present, you can embrace them, you can breathe, you can clear your mind, you can retrain your mind to think positively, and now you can navigate situations more calmly and more at peace. When I was a kid, me and my father, sometimes we'd be yelling at each other, whatever, but once I learned that external circumstances does not need to suck my mind and suck my emotions in and let it consume me. It can consume you in that moment, but if you stay aware of it, you can catch these feelings, you can catch these thoughts, you can be fully present, you can just embrace, okay, this is what it is. I have to deal with this now. So one thing I like to do is breathe. I always say, take a deep breath. I got in that song that was playing, it was take a deep breath and feel like God is hugging you, because it's just such a powerful tool. Even at the start of the Bible, God, breathed life into the existence, right? Like, so, or into man. So it's a very powerful tool, the breath. And I really lock into the breath, taking 10 deep breaths and just reset. What happened to me is I would consciously breathe. Like we're breathing right now. So be aware that there's air flowing in and out of your body right now automatically. Just find the awareness and just be aware that it's coming in, it's coming out automatically. And I learned to let that motion, that effortless motion, soothe me and keep me calm. I use my awareness, not even my breath. I just use my awareness to be aware of the breath, and I let that motion just calm me down and keep me at peace. And I find it's very, very effective when the external world comes at you in any shape or form, whether it's colleagues at work, your family, whether it's a driver going crazy, cutting you off, whether it's the state of the world, whether it's the president of the United States making TikTok posts and they're triggering you. There's so many triggers in the world, but if you stay present, I truly feel like you can catch these triggers when they trigger you, and you can breathe, you can clear your mind, you can embrace how you feel and find strength in these emotions, in these thoughts, in these situations you're overcoming, and you are finding extra strength, and you have to live through them. I find it easier when there's heavy emotions and heavy thoughts, because it's so apparent that we're right here in the present moment. When life's all groovy, you're not really overly concerned about dealing with stuff because you aren't like completely consumed with emotions. You're not completely consumed with thoughts racing. But when things pop off, you're immediately right in it. So I really love to stay present and find strength in those moments, because then once I go through that, I'm now stronger. And I feel like that could be a message to help people find peace in themselves and in their families, and when they go out to work, when they go to the supermarket, when they travel, and and they can ripple it out to the world. I may have went off track a little bit there on that answer.
I think it's pretty on track. And again, it's like everything starts from ourselves. Like that's the control we have. So as you said at the beginning, we can't control others. We can only control what we emanate to the world. So like as you said, being consumed by our emotions versus thought racing and being aware of the present moment. I think that speaks to the audience here. So thank you so much for that answer. Okay, a lot of creators, they build audiences. You seem to build participation with people from all walks of life appearing in your content. People don't just watch, they become part of the energy. How do you create that sense of belonging in your work?
Interesting question. Well, I'll use the Philippines for example. I was in the Philippines for 2 months, almost 2 months. I didn't go to no tourist places until the last week and a half of my time there. The first 3 weeks was spent in Manila, in a neighborhood where there's not a tourist in sight. I seen 2 tourists, and they were in similar situations like me. They were there for a period of time, staying at some local accommodation. Basically, I'm meeting locals. And while I was in the Philippines, I had the idea that I'm going to make more viral Filipino content kind of thing. So I watched some different creators and I changed my style of content slightly because I was focusing more on content, and I just would, try different things, tasting food, specific foods, whatever it may be. But the thing that negatively impacted the follower count, but positively impacted the genuine count and the connections was, let's say I do a video like this, and I pull out I meet some people, because in the Philippines, people would recognize you. Hey, shout out to you, Natalie. Philippines is the best. let's say I'd walk down the street. I would always wear no shirt. I love 30-degree weather. I need to soak in that sunshine. I'm walking down the street with no shirt. Next thing you know, there's some kids or there's some family or whatever. Someone recognizes me and they're like, "Oh, hey." They say, "What's your height?" Because I'm 6'4", and like that's like a foot taller than everyone in the Philippines. So they're like, "What's your height?" And I'm like, "Oh, I'm 6'4". I'm a nice, friendly person, right? So, and then I'm like, "Yo," I realize that people in the Philippines, they really like social media, they like getting shouted out, all that stuff. So I started just going like, "Yo, I'll shout you guys out." So I'll pretend like right here, like, hey, shout out to everyone here on this live stream here. Hey, shout out to every single person in the whole world, and shoo-ba-doo-ba-doo, world peace. Whatever it may be, right? I would make like little shout out videos like that. That video ain't going viral. It's not going viral in one bit. But you know what's gonna go viral is the people that watch that video that's super stoked when they go on Facebook and they see the video. They go on TikTok and they see the video. They're super stoked. Like I said, it negatively impacts my followers because that video is not going to go viral. I might gain 4 followers. 4 of the 7 people in the video, they might follow me. The other 3 might forget to follow me. But at the end of the day, I brought a bunch of good energy to those few people, and all I did was, while I was walking down the street, I just was like, yo, da 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 da, and I stopped to chat with them. Or like if they were playing basketball, I played 1-on-1 against the one little kid, you know, and I might not even record it, or I might record it after you're showing these kids out, whatever. But that's just an example of how my content is very like present. Like yesterday, for instance, there's a video on my TikTok. I started doing TikTok dances because in the Philippines, you might be sitting in a restaurant and you'll look over and you'll see 3 adult men doing choreographed dance moves, and they're taking takes. They're getting that dance right. And it's just cool to see. And I started doing little dances. I started coming up with moves and such. And then coming back to Canada, I'm noticing way less people are making dance videos out in public and such. So I'm going to keep doing it because it's fun and people do join in Canada. But I was at my buddy's place. He ordered a hoodie from me. I was over there. We were chatting. I've known him since 2020, potentially 2021, one of those 2 years. So it's been a while, right? It's been 5 years or so. And this gentleman, you know, he's not the best dancer, and his daughter wasn't feeling too good. So I was like, instead of getting the daughter involved, because she had a cold, he was getting her the sweater. And instead of getting her, trying to hype her up to get her jumping around, I was like, we'll make a TikTok. She could film. She doesn't have to do anything, but then she gets to laugh at her dad doing a little dance. The dad was cool. You know, he wanted to do it. So it's just, but once again, like that video probably won't go viral. Probably won't get 1 million followers, but brought a little bit of joy into that family. And the gist of what I'm saying is a lot of my content isn't catered to go viral or to gain followers and get likes and comments. A lot of my videos are just, like you said, like participation with people. I meet some people, they seem happy to see me, they follow my videos, they see my videos or such. I'll offer, hey, you guys want to make a TikTok video? Sure. Now we're coming up with this little dance. Will the video go viral? Probably not. Will they be happy and pumped? Most likely. Another story. Yesterday, I went to play basketball. Shout out to Chelmsford. Shout out to Chelmsford High. My dad actually went there, but now there's a gentleman named Ed, and he runs the basketball out there on Tuesdays for the whole school year, after school, right, for men to go play or whatever. And as I pulled up, there was like 10 kids on pedal bikes, and they recognized me right away. They ran up. They're all hyped. They want to take a picture with me. I give them out some stickers, and I'm like, yo, I'll shout you guys out because I know these kids would be stoked. So I'm like, yo, shout out to these guys on their bikes. I showed all their bikes in the video. The kids, they all start clapping. They're all super, super stoked. Like, it's just a small little thing. That video's not going to go viral, but these kids are super stoked. You know what I mean? Like, I remember when I was a kid, when you're biking around, when you're 13 years old, you're finally free. You can do whatever. You can go anywhere you want. And like, when cool stuff pops up, you're like stoked with your buddies, right? So like, I'm just grateful that small things like that can bring good energy. Or on the flip side of the door, in the gym, I did a video just shouting out Ed. I said, shout out to Ed here. He's getting these grown men doing cardio because, you know, we got to stay healthy, right? There's 30, 40, 50-year-olds out hooping, and we're running for 2 hours straight. Next thing you know, that video has got 100 comments because it turns out he's a super popular, super good teacher. And all the kids are like, Mr. Mac, we love you. Mr. Mac, we love you. So to summarize my big speech there, I make a lot of my content for a few reasons. One of them being, you know, to make some fun content, some positive content, to have a present moment activity that's fun, and then a little memento, a memory of that moment. So like there's so many positives, and then like hopefully it goes viral. You know what I mean? But I've made thousands and thousands of videos. The viral factor, it's like I feel like there's scientifically ways to make yourselves go viral, but I focus on the real life connections with people and the real life energy being cultivated from making these content videos.
Exactly, and I feel like real life and real life energy and real life connections is really what's up here because a lot of content is more and more curated. And now with AI, it's at another level completely because it's not even real people anymore on the videos. So we can feel this. This is something that we can feel because of mirror neurons. And this is the future of content creation, I believe, to come back to, hey, you know what? I'm actually comfortable showing up as it is today. And I feel like TikTok is a wonderful platform for that. It's like a permission to show up just as you are. And I want to read some of the things in the chat because they're interesting. So Natalie's saying true connection, one person at a time. And there's a compounding effect to that. Annie is saying TikTok is a playground. I'm saying creating joy beyond followers. And also Annie said this message, connection is the ultimate virality. Having followers from the web is one thing because like it increases in number, but at the end, they don't know you. They haven't met you. So they will require a lot more of connection points with you eventually to actually like trust your brand or even buy something from you. Whereas like the people you met in the street are people who know someone who was in your video. It's like the trust is already built to a certain extent. So I feel there's a value into that as well. Thank you so much for your stories. That's very inspiring.
Got a lot of stories.
Yeah, like I'm watching your content and it's just such a permission, honestly. Follow-up question with that. I'm wondering what changes do you notice in the people you include in your brand when they feel genuinely seen and valued? Because one thing I've noticed as well is that you really include everyone.
Could you like rephrase this slightly?
What do you notice in these people when you create content with them, like during the experience? Is there anything that changed into them, or like do you notice something that they feel or that they experience when they're with you creating that?
Well, a lot of people that I make videos with, it's always just like, I just shoot from the hip. It's like whatever. You guys want to make a TikTok video? Like, if we want to do a dance or whatever. And if you can always tell right away if somebody immediately is like, yeah, let's do it. Then it's like their stoked level just went boom, stoked. And then while it's happening at that stoked level, even if we're practicing a dance 5, 6, 7 times, it's just it's a cool like experience because in that moment, like I said, it's like we're dancing, we're learning to dance or whatever, we're laughing because we messed up the move. Oh, but it doesn't matter. We're not saving lives. That's one of my favorite sayings from my uncle. We're not saving lives out here. Like, we're just making a TikTok video. Like, it's no big deal. So I find in that moment it's a lot of fun and just people smiling, laughing, and then sometimes like there'll be 5 or 6 people, but only 2 of them want to actually be in the video. So the other 3, you can see they're giggling, they're having fun, just observing. They don't have to be in the video to appreciate that the present moment of the video being made. And they can still watch the video after, and they know the one person filmed it, the other 2 were standing back there, like they were at that moment too. They're probably a group of friends. So it's a fun moment. And then obviously a lot of people, if you say you want to make a TikTok, like, oh no, I don't do videos. You can always tell right away. And I'm not. I always say it's all good. I'm not trying to convince anyone. You don't got to make no TikTok video. Like, it's all good, and it's just a lot. It's a lot of fun. I'm grateful that this is a side note, but these devices here are pretty sweet. A lot of people have opinions over them, but objectively, this has all the information in the palm of your hands to whatever you want to do. Has everybody has one of these? You could call them up if you wanted to call like anybody up. If you wanted to call Brad Pitt, he's got a cell phone. You just have to figure out a way to get his phone number and have him answer, and have a meeting set up or whatever with him. Like, these phones connect and they keep your mind able to learn. Like, the AI is ridiculous. Like the Gemini, that's what I use. I rock with Gemini, and it's basically like ChatGPT, but you don't have to pay for it, and you can just it's not unlimited for picture creation, but it's like pretty unlimited. You can ask it. I've never ran into a limit where I was like asking questions and such. But my grandfather, right? He moved here from Germany. My grandmother and grandfather moved from Germany. Grandfather moved when he was like 18. He worked here for a year out in Winnipeg, and then flew out his teenage girlfriend, and then they got married. And my grandma's still alive to this day, right? So I have a cousin of mine who he always says, oh, back in our grandfather's day, in our Opa and Oma's day, because they're German, that's what we called them. It was easier, da 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 da. And I'm like, yeah, maybe like economically, like the numbers were easier, but to make those numbers, were they really easier? Like, did they have all the same technology? They had shovels back in the 50s. And you know what I mean? Like, when he came here, he lived through a war. Both my grandparents were bombed in World War II, you know what I mean, as children. And then when they became old enough to leave the country, they left and they came here into super cold Canada. And then they worked hard and they made a life for themselves. And yeah, sure, a house compared to your wages, it was probably a little closer to buy a car, to buy groceries and such. Yeah, but at the end of the day, they didn't have the opportunities in the palm of their hand. We have the, sure it may that may be offset, but the information levels is infinitely closer. And if you put forth 10x of effort to learning, you could spend a whole day on this thing. Imagine spending one full day on this thing on a Sunday. Just imagine that, spending a full day on Sunday for 12 hours, let's say, just going through the AI and learning so much about a specific topic, cross-referencing, watching YouTube videos. I'm not saying first thing you read on the internet's true. I'm not saying that. The internet is full of a bunch of nonsense. But the AIs are pretty good at drafting information and coming up with ideas. And if you're critical at thinking and you read and you try a different source, you can very much get more information in that one Sunday session on the phone with the AI and with Google and all that stuff. Then think about it. I said on Sunday, and our grandpa's day, the library wasn't even open on Sunday. Where are they even going to get this information? They would have to take the full day off, and you just gained as much information as they would gain in a month of trying to find the information. Like, you can get the phone number. Like, I don't know. Don't get me started on that, but that's just one thing I find. It's a little side note, but the technology, we're super lucky to have this in the palm of our hands. If you want it to be in the palm of your hands to use, but you can't put it down. You can't take time away from the device. Highly recommend that. Highly recommend that. Sorry, I definitely got straight away on that one.
That's interesting, though, and I'd like to dig that a little bit more. So, you as an artist, as an entrepreneur, how do you manage the time that you spend on screens versus off screen? Do you want to talk more about that?
I don't really. I'll be honest. I don't really manage it too much. I just live my. I do what I do. You know. I in
Hmm.
the past, though, I've done no screens after 6 p.m. Where after 6 p.m. no phone, computer, TV, video games, none of that. I don't have a screen in my car, so I can't do that. But none of that stuff, right? I'm kidding about the phone or the screen in your car. Obviously, you need that to drive. But that right there, that's what actually triggered this whole journey for me, because after 6 p.m., no phone. This was back in 2015. I couldn't call my buddies, couldn't text, go on Facebook. So I just, one day I was bored. I started reading. That's how I read The Power of Now. These things are very addictive. In the last few years, I've noticed, since about maybe 2021, 2022, I'm going to say 2022, the algorithm changed and it's infinitely smarter and it knows exactly what you want to watch. Before that, from high school up until 2022, I had no clue what was going on in basketball, because I graduated high school, stopped playing basketball, stopped watching basketball, and didn't have TV, have no clue what's going on. Now the algorithm just knows I love basketball, and I'm seeing all the highlights. I know all the who's winning. You know what I mean? It's very like very good at sucking you in. So I highly recommend, like, put these devices down. Me personally, though, I run my whole business off this. I'm always doing videos, so I'm always making sure my phone's charged. I have two phones. That phone, I have another phone. Like, I have a lot of phones. But if you don't, here's how I look at it. If you don't, like, have a business off your phone, or yeah, I wouldn't. You don't really need to have a phone. Like, you could leave this at home. You know what I mean? You really don't need to bring this to work. If you work at Valet, which is the mine in Sudbury, if you're a teacher, like, do you really need this? I don't really think you need it, because if you probably have a laptop, you have your work device. You don't really need to be on this at all times. How I manage it is basically, when I'm in real life, I'm not on it. That's the thing. Like, I manage it in where so if I'm by myself, I'll be using my phone. I'll be posting on social media. I'll be editing videos and such. When I go out in the world now, I'm not just gonna be on this. I'll be having a conversation with you. I'll be chatting with you, making a TikTok video, whatever it may be.
So do you still do the no phone after 6 p.m., or this is something you used to do in the past?
I've done it in the past on and off, but not anymore. No.
Okay, yeah, because as entrepreneurs, we never know when the business kicks in and the creativity and inspiration. So, yeah, that's something we need to be aware of because, as you said, algorithm is increasingly smarter
Oh,
month after
it's
month. Yeah,
it's so addictive now. It's so
yeah,
addictive. It's not even like it's addictive. It's I guess you would call it addictive, but it's just when you go on Facebook, it just knows that I like basketball. I don't want to watch these basketball videos. I don't want to see them arguing about LeBron James and Kobe Bryant and Michael Jordan, who's better. I really could care less, but it pops up, and now I'm watching that stuff. So it does suck you in. I'll admit it, but I've done the no screens after six while running my business. It's not that big of a deal. Like if you go to bed at 9 o'clock, 3 hours not on your phone is not a big deal. Like it's not really that serious, especially if you wake up at 6, 7 in the morning, you're using your phone all day for your business. It's not really a big deal. The thing about me, the reason I don't do it as much anymore is because I spend more time out in the world. So I take payments on this. I do my TikTok videos. So if I'm out in the world and someone wants to make a TikTok video with me, like I was driving at the mall, I was driving around the side of the mall and someone yelled, "World peace. Can you make a TikTok with us?" Sure. You know what I mean? If it was after six, would I say no? Break their spirits? No. You know what I mean? So it's just like that. And I kind of keep my hours more later. Like I'll be out after six, doing stuff. And it's a tool for me. You know what I mean? It's a tool.
right. It's a tool, not our life. Natalie is asking, I'm curious, is there someone who inspires you and why?
The Almighty, obviously. God.
Can you expand a little bit for us?
Okay, I will. So how I just said God because obviously God inspires me. A lot of individuals inspire me too. Like as a rapper, Tupac would inspire me. Even the new age trap rappers that talk about just nonsense inspire me because they've achieved success in their own right and they're doing things. Who else inspires me? Everyone in this inspires me for being in a positive, present, peaceful space right now, sharing their awareness in this moment. I'm grateful for I'm just grateful for you guys. You guys are awesome. But there's a lot of people that inspire me. Like my mother inspires me. She's super kind and happy. Let me think. People that inspire me are, like I was saying, Mr. Mack, Ed, the teacher, who runs basketball. He says he's been running that for 15 years out at that school on Tuesdays or whatever. It's like, people that are working hard and doing positive things in the community, they inspire me. But at the end of the day, God is all. And God created the wonderful world and breathed life into man, and so we're all just one in the present moment. And I'm just, what inspires me is just the almighty of life and just the connection that we all have right here, right now, mentally, physically, spiritually, and emotionally. And we're all just one right now. So anybody that is appearing or is thriving in keeping their mental, physical, spiritual, and emotional balance and going out in the world and radiating that inner zen, those are very inspirational people to me, and I'm super grateful for everybody living that life.
Loving this. Okay, now we're gonna talk about the young. So, youth today are growing up inside a world of constant noise, pressure, algorithms, and identity confusion. So, what inspired you to dedicate part of your mission to guiding and empowering young people specifically?
Well, it's just I don't know. When I started making music, I was young. I was a teenager, so when I started rapping, I'd be rapping with my friends and stuff. And my music is always more deep. Like my song, Earth, Wind, and Fire. When you think of Earth, Wind, and Fire, if you're not old or if you're not cultured, if you don't think of the band. Like for me, if I think Earth, Wind, and Fire, I'm thinking the band. But like if you don't know about that, if you're young, you might think shout out to Annie. But if you're young, you might just think, oh, some elements, whatever it may be. But like my song, Earth, Wind, and Fire, to live a life to inspire. Let's connect like Earth, Wind, and Fire. Plant the seeds of happiness and they'll grow. Sow the seeds of kindness and they will show. You're blessed with this life, so don't let God down. Be the source of inspiration for those knocked down. Train the voice up in your head for when you get chopped down. Be the one they see. Hop off the ground. Can't nothing stop you. So I just try and make all my music inspirational and uplifting. And I just feel like there's a few reasons why children, youth, young adults, really everybody. It's the thing with these phones is if you're on your phone lots and you appreciate the message, you're gonna get it. But a lot of kids are on their phone lots, you know what I mean? And they're consumed by technology. Some of them, like I remember like coming to the realization because I'm 30 years old. When I was a kid, we had phones. Like I had an iPhone, I think in grade 12, but it wasn't unlimited data, and Instagram wasn't what it was. Facebook wasn't what it was. You were on this phone more to message your friends and see where the party was than to just be on the phone all day, scrolling, seeing like random stuff that's just they call it brain rot now, So I always remind younger people to like, this isn't real. You know what I mean? Like the Instagram post, like it's not real. It's just like people curate what they want the world to see, and you don't need to be comparing yourself to other people. You can always just like compare yourself to yourself and become the best version of you. So I don't know. That didn't really answer the question. I'm kind of sorry. Could you ask me the question again?
Yes, well, you answered the question. Like, let's dig a little bit deeper because, from what I understand, you go into communities with young people and you guide them to create a song. Is that what you
Oh,
do?
on
No.
that level, yeah. So
Okay.
what happened is just over the years of making videos, making music videos, and traveling around. This is the thing. There's younger people like they're just more hyped. Not always, but in general, like 12, 13 and under are like super hyped, Like if you say, when I say world, you say peace, they'll just already scream peace at the top of their lungs. You know what I mean? You don't even have to remind them to scream, right? It's like kids are just super hyped. So just over the years of me traveling around, delivering hoodies, meeting new people, singing songs, making videos, I traveled all around Ontario. Like during COVID, I traveled Canada during COVID, but I was traveling in Ontario lots, 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 like 2020, 2021, 2022, so much all over Ontario. And then what happened is I started doing these youth programs just because different native reserves up in the north of Canada or of Ontario would just see me like a couple hours away, and they just reached out, hey, you want to come work with the kids? And I don't work with kids, you know what I mean? So I was like, all I do is make music. So I'm like, I could come, make a song with the kids, help them like come up with some lyrics and stuff. And it just kept working out. It was just good vibes, and the kids had a lot of fun. We'd shoot music videos, and it was just a very, very powerful experience because I'm a very like I'll tell you how it happened. I got the phone call about going to work on this reserve, and in the phone call they wanted me to stay for 3 hours, and I'm like, I'm not going to perform for 3 hours. Like that's ridiculous. You know what I mean? Like, what do you think I'm gonna? Like, I'm not gonna. The kids are gonna get bored. Like they don't know. If I'm not super famous, 3 hours is just excessive. So they were like, oh no, you could just like work with to produce some performances, then just like hang out with the kids, do some arts and crafts. And I'm just like, no, I'm not doing that. Like I'm a grown man, I'm not doing arts and crafts. You know what I mean? Like I'm like, I'll just come, like just quit thinking. I'm like, I'll just come and I'll bring my music stuff and we'll make a song. I'll make a song. We'll shoot a music video. It's like, you can do that in 2 hours. I'm like, yeah, no problem. I'll get it done. I'm not worried. Since it was the first time, I prepped it all out. I came up with the chorus ahead of time. I created I just came up with the simple concept that the beat would be ba 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 ba, just like a simple dance beat. So I knew the second I got there, I could get the beat. So everybody watches like, okay, he threw the beat down. He threw a little sounds. I let the kids play with the piano a bit. One that clicked the cool sound. I'm like, yo, we're gonna use that. And then I got the kids to come up with some lyrics, and I put the lyrics together and I rapped the lyrics. And then I got the kids to chant the chorus that I already came up with. We shot the video. It was basically a snowball fight because it was a snowstorm that day. So the whole video was around a snowball fight outside. I brought some flares, so they were shooting off flares and running around, and it was just fun. And so then I kept doing my thing, and different reserve reached out to me when I went farther up north, or the school board reached out to me and had me go to school. And it's just it's a very empowering experience because like I started doing like full albums, so I'd spend like 10 days just making song after song. You make 30 songs, 27 songs in 10 days, 9 days. And it's very powerful because the kids that really want to participate, they made 6, 7, 8 songs, and they put forth effort. That's a lot of time. That's a lot of effort. That's a lot of growth. As imagine if you're a shy kid that was, here, I'll give you an example. There is this one kid that I met in, I won't even say, just random community, super small area. I show up at the school and there's hardly anybody there. There's like, for grade 5, 6, 7, 8, it was the grades I was working with. I show up in the morning. It's me, the teacher, and one kid in grade 5. That's it. That's all that's there. And I have my piano. I'm like, here, play the buttons. Da, 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 da. And they're like, write some lyrics. Not. All they'd say is no. And then I was just kind of like talking about what's going on. I was showing them like what we worked on the day before with her peers, and she was interested enough. She was paying attention. She just was like real shy or whatever. And then at one point she said, I don't know how it came out, but just in this like little conversation, she said she didn't feel comfortable in the school. And I'm like, damn, man, like I've been here for 3 days, you know what I mean? And like she's telling me she doesn't feel comfortable in this building, and I'm like, that's pretty deep stuff, for a kid to be telling me, right? And I met her mother like 3 days prior, and then every single day her mom and her siblings had came to the school, and I bumped into them. I actually helped them bring a a dryer into their house one of the days, like help carry furniture into their house. So I had the idea. I'm like, what if your mom would let us just record at your place? Then would you do it? And she's like, oh yeah, for sure. And then she came up with a bunch of lyrics right then and there on the lunch break. Asked her mom. Her mom said, sure. We set up in the kitchen. Her brother's sleeping in the background on the couch, and she records the whole thing like that. And I'm just like, damn, man, like it was just the unlocking of a safe space because she didn't feel comfortable in the school. Fast forward to a year later, I'm back in that community, and the program is to get the kids to do a performance for the community. She got on stage with a microphone in her hands and performed in front of her community in that building she said she didn't feel comfortable in. So like, to me, that's a very big accomplishment for her, but it's also a big accomplishment for me too, because I was the one who kind of like catered that and made it happen just from quick thinking. I'm very like, I'll figure it out. Like there's no way I'm not gonna figure this out. You know what I mean? So I'm just grateful that like I got to experience that. Or on the flip side, I was in a different school. This was in a school. I don't want to say the school, but I show up there and I told the school's grade 6, 7, or 7, 8. Sorry, 7, 8, maybe grade 6s if there's not a lot of 7, 8s, because I just knew like they were bigger schools with more kids. So I'd show up, and this school, they had grade 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8s. There was 40 kids there, and we got to make a music video in one day with all these kids. So since they were already split up, I just kept them split up, and I made 2 separate songs with 2 separate music videos. And at this point, like the kids are the ones recording all the lyrics. Like I was only at the first 1 or 2 times where I would get the kids to come up with the lyrics, and I would record what they said in my own rap, and then they would say a couple things. These ones, it was all the kids, right? I'm not even in these songs. This is all the kids. So it just like that one worked out flawlessly. In about 5 hours, we made 2 separate songs. Each song had 20 kids on it, 2 separate music videos in one school day. You know what I mean? With 40 kids. Like kids are just like at a super high level of like intelligence and confidence and determination. And I'm just honored to have spent a bunch of time working with kids. I probably worked with like 200 kids maybe over the time. I don't know, like lots, you know what I mean? Like, and it's super cool. Like I said, especially the kids though that I worked with like for periods of time, you know what I mean? That I seen them kind of grow, you know what I mean? And like flourish, you know, like started off super shy. And then like that one girl, for instance, she's still shy in the end, but she was less shy, you know, and more comfortable doing things like that. But then I met some kids that like were super shy. And then by the end, they're like, they got 10 songs, you know, it's like they got music videos with just themselves in it. No one else is even in the video. They're just like killing it, having the best time ever. And yeah, man, I'm just grateful to have been able to experience that. And just in general, like I said, kids are just like, they got the pure youthful spirits. You know, they're, like I said, 12, 13 and under, like those kids are stoked. You know what I mean? Like once you start getting older, I feel like people start mirroring adults, and adults sometimes are more like lower, like, no, I don't want to say lower vibration, but lower like jump around energy and like, yo, let's make this TikTok video dancing in Walmart right now. You know what I mean? Like, so yeah. But yeah,
The
that's
chat
been
is on
that.
fire. The chat is
Yeah,
on
what's happening?
fire. Yeah.
What's up, chat?
The thing is, the way you work with young people reach them in ways that traditional systems sometimes cannot. And like that's what I wanted to highlight, and I think you highlighted it very well with your examples. And this is so important because that's the thing, like schools can be great, but for some people, as you said, they don't feel comfortable, they have a backstory, they can have difficulties learning. So when we bring like creative experiences like you do, I feel it's really like a second chance for them to be expressed and to express their intelligence. So thank you for what you're doing.
Pleasure.
Yeah, and I'd like to ask you one last question because the hour is flying by, and that one is is interesting. So when I invited you to speak at the summit, it's like 3 4 months ago in February. You said you were open, but you couldn't fully commit because you genuinely didn't know where in the world you would be, like today. And that felt like such a free way to live. Like just being like, yes, I want to do it, but like call me later so we can see what's up for me at that point. And not long after that, you flew to the Philippines. And I'd love to hear more about the nudges that led you there in the first place. And what is the story that called you toward that experience in the Philippines? Like, what's the backstory?
Why I went to the Philippines is very simple. If you know any Filipinos, man, they're the best. They're so happy, kind, good spirited people. And they love basketball. I started hooping again in the new year, going to different YMCA's and such. And I just played with some Filipinos a few times. And Filipinos, they play a good brand of basketball. They pass the ball, da 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 da. It's a lot of fun. There's a lot of running. It's good vibes playing with Filipinos. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go to the Philippines because I know I'll be able to play some basketball. It's gonna be nice weather. It's the currency exchange rate is very favorable for Canada, and everyone's so friendly and nice there. So it was just like a win-win-win. And then I was thinking about going somewhere because at that point I had made it all the way to the east coast of Canada. And Newfoundland, I could have went to Newfoundland, but it's winter time. There's one city in Newfoundland. You have to take a 7-hour ferry and then drive 12 hours to get there. Like, am I gonna go there in the middle of winter or am I gonna go to the Philippines? It would probably cost the same amount of money to go there or to go to the Philippines. So I just flew to the Philippines. Like I booked the trip 2 days, like 2 days out, and just flew there. Then like 2 days later, and yeah, everything was just like I thought. But everyone in the Philippines was even happier and even more positive. And I was shocked how much basketball there really was there. Like they have barangays. It's kind of like a borough, not a borough, but it's like a neighborhood, right? And every neighborhood has in Manila specifically had like 2 or 3 covered basketball courts, like with nice big backboards. Like imagine a high school gym, that style of backboard, that style of net, but just outside covered courts everywhere you go. So I was playing lots of basketball. I was making I made my new album down there. I shot so much content. I went at it a little differently when I was there because when I went to Mexico the year before, I went to Mexico specifically for 3 weeks to make an album. I was like, I'm just gonna wake up, crank out music, and then go shoot content. That was basically my system. But then in the Philippines, because I did that last year. I wanted to switch it up, right? So this time I was like, I'm gonna go make an album, but I'm gonna go out more and I'm gonna go like vlogging more and try to go viral more, But but I still made music. I did it a little differently. I didn't in Mexico. I kind of batched a bunch of videos, edited them, and scheduled them over like a 6 month window. But this time I put out all the content while I was there, just going super hard. And I just wanted to try something different, right? Try different things. Can't just do the same thing all over and over on repeat. So yeah, that's kind of how I ended up in the Philippines, just off of realizing everyone in the Philippines is so friendly, so kind. They love playing basketball. The weather's great. The foreign exchange rate from Canada to the Philippines is super good, and everything worked out better than expected in the Philippines. I highly recommend everybody go to the Philippines. Shout out to all the Filipinos.
So you came back with a new album And is there anything else that you came back with that you didn't have before that trip in the Philippines?
Just like showing people out. Like I wouldn't just make videos saying like, "Yo, shout out to these guys here." Da, 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 da. Like that just mentality came because in the Philippines they would say, shout me out, man." Show like that's slightly different actually. In back a few years ago, I was always getting kids ask me to shout them out on my story. So it's not it's pretty much the same, but in the Philippines it was like adults, you know what I mean? Like they're like, "Yo, shout out, shout out." It was like that's what they would say, shout out. And another thing, they all speak English there. Everyone speaks English in the Philippines too. Like a lot of countries in Southeast Asia, like they don't be speaking English every single place you go. Like everyone speaks English. You can go in. Like I spent so much time where there was not a tourist in sight, and I never had an issue. Just go anywhere that everyone speaks English. I love the Philippines. Just the energy, man, of just like when you go down the street, right? Everyone's happy, like that energy, like it matched my energy perfectly. Like the Philippines is the best, you know?
I love that you're saying it matches your energy perfectly because you got there and you were in a creative vortex, obviously. And we could see you felt at home over there. And this is another thing, like people can feel everything through our content if they really pay attention. And I think that makes a difference in the frequency that they receive as they go over our content. And like that's how we build trust with them. When they see we are in alignment with ourselves, like we go to the places that match our energy and vice versa. I think they can feel that. So anyway, I felt it in your content and I was really happy for you. And it's funny because when you were all the way on the east coast of Canada, and at some point you're posting a reel and you're like, I'm driving back to Ontario, I've got a flight, you know? And I was
I'm
wondering,
going to the Philippines.
I was
See,
like,
I'm
what is
a
going
smart
on?
guy. I'm a smart guy. So I live in Ontario. And what I did is once I got over there, I punched in where the airports were and I searched parking. And I just picked the airport with the cheapest parking that also had the cheapest flights. So it was Ottawa. Ottawa had cheaper parking than than Toronto. So I parked in Ottawa and I flew there. It was like I, I'm pretty good. Use Timbits and tricks. Go on Google Flights. Just search flights on Google. Click on the flight tab and start messing around with there to find you some cheap flights. I flew to the Philippines for 650 Canadian dollars, and when I converted it to pesos and I told people in the Philippines, like everyone was like, "Wow, you got such a good deal! Like it's a pretty cheap flight, right? 650 bucks for three separate planes, 25 hours of flying. Like it's a lot, you know." So yeah, Philippines is epic. I love the Philippines so much. I'm a very spontaneous person. Even on the way back, it was 2 a.m., which is 2 p.m. this time. And I was talking to my cousin, and we're just shooting the breeze, and it was 2 in the afternoon for him, 2 a.m. for me. And I was just like, yeah, my visa's about to run out. It's either going to be 250 bucks to extend it. It's going to be either 250, 300 to go to Bali because Bali's even cheaper. I was thinking about going there. And then I was like, oh, but I got to check how much the flight's going to be from Bali back to Canada. So I checked the flight. And at the time, the return flights were up like 1,400 bucks because the oil prices because of Iran and stuff, the prices were so high. Even from the Philippines going back, it was like 1,400. And then I checked from Cebu, which is where I was near, and it was only 1,000 bucks. It was like 980 bucks. So I'm like, I guess I'm just going to go back. And the ticket was for like 30 hours later. And I just left, went back home. Just came back home and took 25 hours sitting on planes and back in Canada. But yeah, no, I like living spontaneously. It's a lot of fun, and I'm grateful for the ability to work hard, live within my means, so that I'm able to be more free. That's one thing too. I always try and tell people to like live within their means. Don't overdo it all the time and over leverage yourself on unnecessary expenses like your brand new car payment, your too big house, your too big apartment, your just your toys and stuff. Like everybody over leverages themselves for no apparent reason. Like it's one thing to over leverage yourself on an investment where there's cash flow involved and you're taking a risk where there's high reward, but it's like if you're over leveraging yourself on toys, it's like that's just so ridiculous. That's such a 2020 like or 2000s nonsense, you know what I mean, that everybody does, and it just shoots themselves in the foot financially when we're in like everyone talks about how the house prices and the car prices and grocery prices are so out of control as compared to back in the day, but like everybody just is over leveraged, and that's what's really causing them to be in these situations of just having way too many automatic payments, and they're paying 5, 6, 7% interest on all their stuff. It's like that's what adds up and knocks you down. A lot of people do that. I see it every day. Every day you see people struggling. They're 28 years old. They're in debt. I'm like, what do you mean? You've been working for 10 years? You know, you haven't done anything. You know, you just cycled through two car payments and a couple toys, and that's it. You know what I mean? Don't even have a house yet. You know what I mean? Like, house is one thing. If you get a reasonable house you could afford, not an over leveraged house where you're just barely struggling to make the payments, and then when they up the interest rates, you go, you know, you foreclose, just like what happened in 2008. If you get a reasonably priced house, it's understandable. But on the flip side, like, you know, if you get a reasonably priced house and keep driving your used car and, you know, live below your means, you could get ahead in 2026. It's not that crazy. You know what I mean? It's not as crazy. Like, inflation's not as crazy as people are saying. Like, I've been an adult for 10 years. Like, I see the prices. Yeah, they went up. Like, I remember when you went to a restaurant, you know, like, I'm a big eater. You know, I could get a meal and a little side. It might be $18. Now it's like $38. You know, but it just depends what you get. Like, I eat a lot of food. You know what I mean? Like, depends on the restaurant. But from my experience, like, you can still go and get like a $15, $16, like, you know, like something, you know what I mean, have a meal. It went up a bit, but it didn't go up like three times more expensive. Like, it didn't get super crazy, you know. Like, it's not as economically like balanced as it was back in the day, but it's like back in the day too. Like, I don't think people were over leveraging themselves on skidoos and snow machines and four wheelers and dirt bikes, and then you're paying insurance on all that. Like, I hear so many people that pay $800 a month for car insurance because they have so many things bundled in with their shenanigans. You know what I mean? It's like, it's just poor. There's so much poor financial planning, and I don't know why I'm going off on this tangent, but yeah, there's so much. You know, people should check themselves before they wreck themselves.
Right. I think that's a good message because that's something we see a lot online as well. It's like make more money, make more money, make more money. And also, does it mean that you have more money? It depends, as you said, like if we're over leveraging ourselves on toys and interest rates, that's another story. So thank you for that message. I think many people need to hear that as well. Like, how do we create freedom? There are several choices we can make to create freedom. So before we close the call today, we'd like to know how we can stay in touch with you and how, like, where we can find the World Peace merch. Tell us everything about it.
Okay. Well, I got one more thing I gotta say. So I learned this from a chief from a reserve way up north, right? And it was the native medicine wheel. And what there's four sides, and there's a lot of representations for those four things: north, south, east, west. There's lots, but one of them was mental, physical, spiritual, emotional, and how you have to keep them all balanced to live a good life. And I feel like the physical side, that's, you know, sure, it's your health, it's what you eat, your exercise, all that stuff, but it's the physical world also. You know, it's tending to your garden, it's having relations with people. You know, it's like it's taking care of your financial health and making sure, you know, making sure you're good on that level. So I highly recommend everybody like locks into their mental, physical, spiritual, emotional, find their zen, find their inner peace, find their spiritual peace, their physical, deal with the world in a peaceful way, and have good energy and have balance within. How you contact me? My phone number is 249-878-5510. I'll say it one more time: 249-878-5510. You can send a text, you can send a call if you want to order some World Peace hoodies. As you see, I got the merch behind me. We got the World Peace shoes here. Boom. Yeah, what? We got the World Peace shoes. There's basketball jerseys, all kinds of gear. My social media is World Peace on Facebook and YouTube. It's World Peace Jesus on Instagram and World Peace Jesus Christ on TikTok. Thank you so much for following me. And if you want to order some merch, please feel free to reach out. Phone, I go ship Canada Post. And yeah, appreciate you very much. I have a couple more things to say. There's also a few things that I feel like we could do to move forward towards world peace. Loving Mother Earth, loving yourself, having positive thoughts, you know, like simple things that you can do with yourself to ripple out that energy is very potent, and keeping yourself balanced and at peace. And yeah, I just you know, remember, take a deep breath, clear your mind, connect with the earth, lock into your zen. And yeah, thanks so much for listening to my shenanigans. You know, thanks so much for having me. Yeah, I'm super grateful for this present moment. My music's on Spotify too under World Peace. And yeah, shoo-ba-doo-ba-doo. Facebook, I go the hardest. I post a lot of pictures there. You know, I'm always taking selfies, posting them on Facebook. And yeah, I'm super grateful for you guys tuning in. And much love and appreciation. Order some merch, 249-878-5510, or message me on Instagram or Facebook. World Peace.
Thank you so much. And as we leave today, special request from myself. Could you just do a little freestyle for us, or maybe a rap from one of your songs without the music?
Without the music?
Yeah,
Okay.
just you.
All right, already okay. Ready? So let me take a deep breath. First, let's all take a deep breath. Take a deep breath. Let's take a moment to think about what you're grateful for. Think about something you're grateful for. If you're in the comments, throw it in the comments what you're grateful for. It's going to be the gratitude rap. So, let's come up with some gratitude. Gratitude, that's the attitude. Here you have it, dude. Feel the shoe, do. Feel the good energy with every breath that you breathe. We are all one big family. Feel the good frequencies with every breath that you breathe. Take a deep breath and clear your mind. Be free. We are one, all intertwined in this sublime paradigm. I can't deny the good vibrations. Clear your mind, stop thoughts from racing, have that good meditation, feel the zen, cluck like a hen, feel the love flowing in your blood. We are one with the sun, we're all connected. This present moment, we gotta respect it. Mother Earth, woohoo, let the love and burst. Let it beam. We are one team, the human race. You and me, let's get together in unity. Shooba-dooba-dee, doo-da-doo-da-da-day. Feel the love flowing up inside your veins. I'm always full of the kind that's great. Gratitude, that's my attitude. You have it, dude. Feel the shooba-doo, doo-da-doo-da-dee. And when I say world, you guys say peace, world. Peace. No, shout out to you guys, man. Thanks for tuning in. And thank you so much, Audrey. Appreciate you very much. Thank you for having me on your wonderful platform.
Thank you so much. So this is the last session in the Light Language Summit, the free portal seat. We have one last session for all participants in the All Access Pass on Friday, June the 5th for integration. I wish you all a wonderful rest of your day, and Mr. World Peace, I will be in touch. Thank you so much. Mwah.
World peace.